Legend has it there was once a race of people who lived in the Great Basin in Nevada, in an area known today as Lovelock. This race of people was unique in a number of ways. They had red hair, which is odd for Native Americans. They were also giants, with reports of them being 8.5 to 10 feet tall. Oh, and they were cannibals. I did a bit of a deep dive to learn more about this legend, and today we're on our way to the very spot where this race of people supposedly met their end. There's a small parking lot. We're the only ones here right now. There's a little bathroom over there and some information about the cave, but no information about red-headed giant cannibals. There are a lot of stories and varying accounts of objects and remains that have been found in the Lovelock Cave, and I want to start at the beginning and work my way forward from there. The earliest account is from Sarah Winnemucca, the daughter of Paiute Chief Winnemucca. She published a book in 1883, and in this book she shares a story that was passed down for 5 generations before her. I'll link to her book in the description, and you can read her account in its entirety. I'm going to summarize and paraphrase to save a little time. She tells the story of a small tribe of barbarians. In her book she says, "They used to waylay my people and kill and eat them." I had to look up the word waylay, but it basically means to ambush. She said that this tribe would even eat their own dead, and that they would, quote, dig up our dead after they were buried and would carry them off and eat them. She goes on to say that the tribe of cannibals numbered approximately 2,600, and that her people were at war with them for about 3 years. During this time, attempts were made to make peace, and the Paiute people tried to get the barbarians to stop eating people like coyotes, but they refused. Eventually, the Paiute people killed a great number of these cannibals, and those that remained fled to a cave near the mountain. Here, wood and brush were piled up at the mouth of the cave and set on fire, burning and suffocating the last of these people. She concludes her account by saying that, quote, "Many people say the tribe we exterminated had reddish hair. I have some of their hair which has been handed down from father to son. I have a dress which has been in our family a great many years, trimmed with this reddish hair." Right now, we're on our way to the very cave where this supposedly took place. The next person to discover this cave, as far as I can tell, apart from the Paiute people, of course, is a man by the name of John T. Reed. Reed said that as a boy, some of the native boys he was friends with took him to the cave. He was childhood friends with Sarah Winnemucca's brother, Natchez. Natchez told Reed the story. He said that there was a tribe of red-headed men who were very tall. The Paiute fought with these people, and in one of the battles, the red-headed men took refuge in a cave, where sagebrush was gathered, placed at the mouth of the cave, and set ablaze. When Natchez took Reed into the cave, they saw no evidence of red-haired giants. All they found was tons of bat guano. Sarah Winnemucca never referred to the cannibals as giants. Her brother described them as being very tall. Aside from that, their stories are nearly identical. We've reached the cave, and there's some more information here. There's a plaque down this way. And there's even an observation platform down there. Oh yeah, there's a ramp down there. Or stairs.
It's pretty dark in here.
Yeah, you can see how charred the ceilings are in here. A lot of smoke. So maybe people spent an extensive amount of time camping in here, or maybe this is where the red-headed giant cannibals met their end. The cave goes down a little bit further over here too. Not too much further. Moving forward in time to 1899, John T. Reed tried to drum up some interest in the archaeological possibilities of the cave and the commercial potential of the guano for use as fertilizer. He brought a representative from a mining company and a professor from the University of Pennsylvania to the cave, but neither man had any interest in pursuing it any further. Then in 1911, there was interest from some miners, David Pugh and James Hart. These miners extracted about 250 tons of bat guano to be used as fertilizer, and while they were mining, they discovered numerous well-preserved Native American objects. The discovery of so many items was enough to interest archaeologists, and there was an archaeological dig led by Llewellyn L. Loud in 1912. I wanted to mention something about Llewellyn Lamont Loud that I forgot to mention earlier. At the time that he was sent on this archaeological expedition, he was not a trained archaeologist. To be fair, not too many people were at that time. He was actually a non-degree student at UC Berkeley, and he actually worked for the university as a security guard and a janitor. So how does someone like that end up leading an archaeological dig and becoming a field archaeologist? Well, the founder of the anthropology department at UC Berkeley knew that Mr. Loud was an experienced outdoorsman. And when you consider that the Lovelock Cave is in a very remote location and that conducting an archaeological dig there may mean spending quite a bit of time living there, it sort of makes sense to send an experienced outdoorsman. Another dig was led by Mark Raymond Harrington in 1924, and Llewellyn Loud was able to collaborate with him on that dig. In 1929, Loud and Harrington published a book called Lovelock Cave. In this book, they talk about the objects they found, and they also share accounts from a number of people about some of the interesting claims that have been made over the years. In their book, they say that the miners who initially discovered artifacts found things like baskets, beautifully woven nets, sandals, and numerous other articles. They said that naturally only objects of a spectacular nature were saved as curious. The smaller, inconspicuous things were overlooked and lost. When I was researching the story of the red-headed giant cannibals, I came across a YouTube video from a guy who said that he was reading from the archaeological report of 1929. He read a passage where he says, in the north central part of the cave,
4 feet deep, was a striking body of a man. His body was mummified and his hair was distinctly red.
He continues reading, noting that there were 4 or 5 other mummies, and those that appeared to be women were small.
This was not due to the shrinking of the bodies in mummification, because the man was a giant. This is a 1929 archaeological report from University of California, Berkeley.
The passage he's reading does in fact appear in the book, but it's not being reported as the findings of these archaeologists. They're sharing an account obtained by John T. Reed from James Hart, who was one of the miners who discovered artifacts while extracting bat guano in 1911. You can read Loud and Harrington's book online. There's only one mention of the word giant anywhere in the book, and it comes from the account I just mentioned. The book is basically saying, here's a story that we heard from a guy who heard it from another guy, which is a lot less compelling than this is the official report from 2 archaeologists working for the University of California, Berkeley. There are mentions in the book of skeletal remains and even mummified bodies being found, but in this book, there isn't any information on the size of these bodies to verify if they were in fact giants. The only mention of giants comes from John T. Reed. The only mentions of cannibalism in the book are when telling the accounts of Sarah Winnemucca and her brother, with one exception. They did say they found some bones that had been split to extract the marrow, and they speculated that this could indicate cannibalism during famine. So Llewellyn and Harrington found evidence that they may have resorted to cannibalism in extreme conditions, but not that they were cannibals who were regularly hunting humans for food. When researching this legend, I did find a number of websites referencing an article in the June 19, 1931 issue of the Nevada Review Minor newspaper that says, quote, "In February and June of 1931, 2 very large skeletons were found in the Humboldt dry lake bed near Lovelock, Nevada.